Hello and thank you for joining us on our first episode of Talon Talk. I'd like to introduce our first guest, the head coach of the women's basketball team, Karin Harvey. Coach, how's it going?
Great, Jack. Thanks for having me.
All right, so we'll get right into the questions. The first thing I want to start out with is just some stuff getting to know you and your background. So first tell me about your upbringing a little bit, where you grew up, and your background in sports as a kid.
Yeah, I actually grew up on a farm in Michigan, and not a lot of organized sports. Basketball was really it. You know, it was kind of like what you picture out of Hoosiers. You know, a rusty old basketball hoop on a dirt pavement with no net, you know, that kind of thing. That's kind of how I grew up playing basketball.
Was there like one specific moment that sparked your love for the game that sticks out?
I don't think so. I think I just happened to have a really good relationship. It was more in high school. I had a really good relationship with my high school coach. And I was his TA and, you know, sixth man. And I spent a lot of time talking basketball with him and just kind of fell in love with the game and thought, well, I might like to do this for a living.
And if you had to pick one idol over your time as a child, is there one person that sticks out?
As far as coaching?
Yeah.
This is probably controversial, but
Well,
I grew up watching Bobby Knight.
Okay.
So that was my passion. Bobby Knight and then Michigan State. So Judd Heathcote and even before him and now Tom Izzo. That's kind of my upbringing.
Do you think you have a little bit of that Bobby Knight fire?
Sometimes, yeah. Yeah.
So then how about outside of coaching? Is there another idol in your life?
I think probably my mom. My parents both passed away, and they were always big supporters, my mom in particular, of, you know, just kind of anything that I wanted to do. And I was pretty set in a career when I got the offer to come here to be an assistant coach, and I kind of had to give up everything for a couple $1,000s. And it was my mom that was really like, you know, this is what you've always talked about. So it was probably her that pushed me the most and supported me the most.
You kind of mentioned it at the tail end of that answer. Did you always know it was coaching? Were you always drawn to that?
Yeah, I was always drawn to coaching. And I didn't think I was going to get to the college level, to be honest. I think maybe just because of the level. I played college basketball, but at a very small school. And when I went to graduate school at Smith for coaching. And when I got out, I interviewed everywhere and couldn't get a job. So I took a high school position. And it was a great job, you know. I was doing well, I was successful, I was coaching a couple sports, and I thought that's kind of where I would end up. And then, you know, things happened, and I got a little lucky and got the offer to come here and be an assistant coach, and kind of took a leap of faith.
Could you have ever dreamed of this level of success?
No.
And did you ever picture it in New Jersey? Did you ever see yourself in New Jersey?
No, I mean, I grew up in Michigan on a farm in the middle of nowhere. So looking around now to New Jersey it's a whole nother world. But I fell in love with it. I came out to the East Coast for graduate school and fell in love with it and didn't really want to go back. And I was living in Washington D.C. when I got the job offer, and I New Jersey, like what?
Well, you have an interesting perspective. What do you think of the way New Jersey is looked at? Do you think it is everything it's cracked up to be from the outside?
No, I actually think it's completely off. You know, it's amazing. Like I'm a big fan of New England. That's where I went to graduate school. But just the proximity to everything. You know, you're close to the city. You're close to New England. You have the shore. It's kind of a perfect little state, I think.
I'm with
I know.
Maybe I'm biased, though.
Yeah.
So now let's shift and talk about your MSU journey a little bit. And I think we got to start at, in my opinion, my favorite fun fact. You also coached some volleyball and women's lacrosse before you got to basketball.
I did.
So tell me about those experiences, and do you think they helped you when it came to your basketball time?
I do, and I think I go into a freshman seminar class every year and sort of tell my whole story about how I got to where I was, because it's kind of a crazy story. But one of the things I talk about is taking advantage of opportunities, and I think when I was hired here as an assistant, athletic director Holly Guerra at the time said, do you think that you could be an assistant lacrosse coach? Sure. And then the next year was, do you think you could take over the volleyball program? It was a little bit in disarray at the time, and she's like, I know that you haven't coached volleyball. We're just looking for you to turn it into a program. We want them to dress the same and know what it's like to be on time for practice and, try to recruit. And so I was like, Sure, as long as you know that on the court, I'm not going to be the best volleyball coach in the world, but I can make them look like a program. So that was kind of my task.
You had some success with volleyball too.
Yeah.
I believe it was the first time the team had multiple all-conference players in 6 years. So
yeah, and the year I gave it up, the next year they went to the NCAA tournament. So I felt like that was a little bit.
set the table.
Yeah,
like when you're opening the jar, you helped out the next person.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have any volleyball or lacrosse background before that?
Lacrosse? No, not at all. There's no lacrosse in Michigan, or there wasn't at the time. Yeah, the first lacrosse game I ever coached was the first lacrosse game I ever saw. So it was one of those things, a high school game. I coached high school lacrosse. They wanted to start a program and asked me if I would do it. And I was like, oh, sure. Whatever. I can read a book and figure it out. Yeah. And volleyball I played in high school, so I knew a little bit.
So now you're entering your 15th year as the head coach. How much has changed, a three-part question, with the sport, with the athletics program, and with the university in general in that time?
I think I'll start with the university because I'm really proud of everything that has changed within the university since I've been here. My first year here, they were building University Hall. So just to sort of set the table on that is a long time ago. I feel like I get a recruit on campus and I have a 50% chance of getting them right off the bat just because campus looks amazing. And then you have now the School of Business and now the new School of Communication and so I think the university's done a tremendous job in that respect of just creating a beautiful campus, a beautiful environment for students to learn.
And you've had so much success here. Is there anything left on the checklist?
Yeah, I need to win a national championship, but I don't know if we'll ever get to that level. That's pretty tough to do. I think getting back to a Final Four. I always say this. I'm not going to coach forever. I got a couple other things I got to try to maybe do. So I would love to try to build it up one more time and get back to a Final Four, and then maybe let someone like Katie Sire take over, and maybe I'll be her assistant for a little while. I think that would be pretty fun.
And what's it like getting to have a former player that you had so much success with coming onto your staff and getting to coach with her now?
It's amazing, actually. I love her to death. I loved her as a player. We had a great relationship as a player, and now to coach with her, it's just I feel very fortunate, very grateful.
And after all this time, what keeps you so engaged in coaching? What keeps your love for it?
I think I truly do love the game, but it's really the relationships. I love my players. I love the opportunity to get to know them and just to watch them grow as players and people and to try to help them achieve what their goals are. I think that's kind of what the drive is. And obviously I'm competitive and it's fun to win basketball games and it's fun to win championships, but it's the people.
Did you ever consider a move beyond Division III? I'm sure you had some opportunities with all the success you've had.
Yeah, when we were in those big runs for a few years there, I had some opportunities. I had some people reach out to go Division I, and I have a lot of friends that are Division I coaches. And Division I basketball is business. It's a business, and I'm sort of I don't know how to say it, maybe a romantic in a way. I like the game almost too much to sort of have it turn into a business for me and not get to do some of the little stuff that I really enjoy doing and not have it be about, the things that I want it to be about. I also wanted some longevity because you never know at that level. So I certainly looked at it. I flirted with it for a little bit.
And so you're still here. Let's talk about this season. You're coming off a COVID year last year, a shortened season. Everything was different. Yeah. Now you get back. How much different are things, and what are some of the advantages and some of the challenges that you'll face this season?
Well, I'll say that we're still feeling the effects of it. It's interesting. I underestimated the impact that year had, not only on our current players, but our incoming freshmen. I think for everyone, coaches and players, to sort of get back into the flow of things. But obviously, we're very excited. We don't play home until December, so right now we're kind of trying to be road warriors and look forward to that first home game. But I think that's going to be really cool.
And I have to ask about last year. You guys make it to the championship game, fall to NJCU after 2 years ago going down the road and having the same fate.
Yeah.
How much of a chip does that give you guys on your shoulder, and how much are you thinking about that going into the year?
Yeah, I mean, I think about it every day. And I know they're thinking about it. I'm almost a little like, I cannot believe we lost 2 championships in a row. And we had both those games, won. You know, you asked me earlier, one of the things that I've seen change, and I think student athletes have changed a little bit in some respect. And finding new ways to what motivates them and what gets them, you know, to play their best and to play their hardest and to be able to rise to the challenge without, you know, being afraid of failing.
And when it comes to the players, are they on the same page with you? Do you hear it amongst them?
Yeah, that's all they
the
talk
last 2
about.
years?
Yeah, they want to win a championship, especially this senior class. They'll be the only senior class I've coached that hasn't won a championship if they don't win one.
Wow, that's some pressure.
Yeah, that's a little. I put it on them too. I was like, come on, it's trying to make me look bad. People are going to think I'm losing it.
And talking personnel-wise, last year you had Julia Sutton and Nikki Carter back, but Nikki was still dealing with that lingering injury. So now you finally get the 2 of them on the court together healthy. How deadly is that scoring duo?
That's one of my favorite things going on right now on our team is the relationship that those 2 have. They weren't close before. They really weren't. And when I feel like I took this player and I took this player and I said, you 2 are going to be best friends and captains together and you're going to lead the team. And they've sort of risen to the challenge. They've done a great job, and you can see that they have a nice connection and really a great friendship that they might not have had otherwise. So I think that, you know, they're both going to have to perform at a high level for us to win a championship or for us just to win a game.
And talking about Kendall Hodges.
Yeah, that's the other piece. Yeah.
She was kind of thrust into the fire last year, and having to fill some big shoes with Karis Macklin graduating. She did a spectacular job with that. What are you expecting from her this year? And just talk about her as a player and as a person.
Yeah.
She seems to be a great person.
She's great. Yeah, she's got a great personality. A lot of energy, that one. She hops around like a little Energizer bunny. And, you know, I thought it was interesting. I was having a conversation with a coach the other day, and he was asking me about my team. He's like, oh, no, your best player, you know, your point guard. And I was like, wait, what? But I thought it was interesting because that's how people see her. You know, from the outside is she's a great communicator. She is very positive, and she's become a really good motivator, and she's learning how to lead. Yeah, I think it's going to be fun to see how her game develops over the course of the next season.
And you kind of said it for me. Those are the 3 players that everyone's going to talk about. Everybody's going to know about going into the game. But outside of that core 3, who are the X factors this year? Some names we should look out for.
Yeah, I think Megan Duffy, who was out all last year with an injury. She was a freshman last year. I think Megan Duffy, it's going to take her a little bit, but I think she's going to be someone that you want to pay attention to. And then Trinity Stackhouse, she's out with a concussion right now, but she has gotten herself maybe to a starting position, and it's going to be kind of interesting to see what she can do because she's so athletic. And she's worked hard to come a long way. And there's a couple others that I think are gonna, you know, we always have Kelly Smith, who is just, you know, steady and does a million things for you.
You don't want to give away too much.
No, I don't want to give away too much. That's what I was just thinking. Who's gonna see this?
I think I know the answer to this next question. Maybe it'll surprise me. What are the expectations for this group?
I think the expectations are to win a championship, but I have to tell you, Jack, I don't think that that's where we can start right now. Like, I don't think we're close to that yet. I just watching the game last night, Stevens and TC&J, and I was like, these guys look better than us. But I think we got a long way to go to kind of make all the pieces work together and click. But I think this group is invested, and I think that they're going to put the time in. And I wouldn't want to play us in February, I don't think.
And a little low on the coaches' poll, at least in my opinion, coming off a championship game.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that?
No, that's pretty good. I'm okay with that. I like 2, 3. I wouldn't want to be 1. I don't like to be 1. I always put someone else 1 anyway.
So let's shift the focus here, a little bit of a story time.
Okay.
Talk to me first about your favorite memories growing up as an athlete.
I think in one of my freshman college games, I hit 7 threes and a half. I think that's one of my favorite playing memories. I didn't hit another 3 after that, though. I went 0 for in the second half. But I think that was one of my favorite playing memories as a child. But really,
you were ahead of your time with that 7-3.
Yeah, it was pretty
Curry,
good.
so.
Yeah, pretty good. No, I think it was really just the friendships. I mean, that was that, and just the competition itself. I love the game, so I think for me, that was some of my favorite playing moments.
And I want to talk about your coaching days, but I want to be specific here. I'm going to cut it into two halves. So the first part, favorite memories as a coach pre-Montclair State women's basketball.
My second basketball coaching job was freshman boys basketball. And I was the first female basketball coach to coach boys basketball in the state of Massachusetts, just for the record, yeah. So I was coaching, and we were, mid-season or whatever, and two of my guys got into a fist fight on the court. And I was like, and one kid was like the nicest boy ever, freshman, nicest boy ever. And pull him aside, obviously take him out of the game, all this. What is happening? Coach, the other team was saying stuff about you. I just had to. No way he's going to talk about my coach like that. That is what, and he went on and on, but that was one of my favorite stories. So, yeah, so the boys were getting picked on because they had a female coach. So he just punched him. So that's one of my favorite stories.
Do you still keep in touch with any of those guys?
No, they were they were 14 years old. But that's one of my favorite stories. And how I got that job, the athletic director, when he was interviewing me, he was kind of a tough guy at first. And he said, they didn't ask me any questions about coaching. They didn't ask me anything about the game of basketball. He said, how are you going to handle the locker room? I kind of looked at him. I was like, the same way any male handles when he coaches females, not go in it, kind of thing. So it was that was a really fun experience, though, for me to coach boys basketball.
And again, something I think I might know the answer to, but your favorite memory as a coach of Montclair State women's basketball?
Yeah, probably that Final Four run. Yeah, it was pretty incredible. And how we got there, there's always stories about how you get there and how you built up that team. But yeah, that was a pretty cool. Those 6 years, accumulating in that. You make the NCAA tournament for the first time ever, and then, then Sweet 16, Elite 8, and then you finally get to the Final Four.
That's all I had before we wrap things up. Anything you want to add?
Just excited, super excited for the season to start. I'm really proud of all the time that these guys have put in, and I know we have a little bit of work to do, but I think we're going to get that work done, and we're going to get better every day, and I think we are going to compete for that championship, and I'm pretty excited for it.
Well, Coach, we want to thank you very much for the time. Thank you very much for tuning in to our first episode of Talon Talk. Many more to come here on the Red Hawk Sports Network. But a big thank you to head women's basketball coach Karin Harvey for being our first inaugural guest. Good luck this year, and we can't wait to follow it.
Thanks so much. Thank you.